What's up, Throttlers? Aristotle Full Throttle here.
And I'm Bad Panda.
And today we're going to talk about Oscar predictions and the year in movies for 2017. What movies we're looking forward to. Hey guys, so 2016 was a year that had movies in it. Were those movies good?
They were meh.
It was kind of
They
a
were
meh
meh.
year.
I think the most middle of the road movie this year was X-Men Apocalypse. One that was a perfect C, a 5 out of 10.
Exactly.
A completely not good, not bad, average, mediocre movie-going experience.
When I left that movie, I was like, well, that was a movie.
But that's pretty much what this year in general was, just kind of like the movies were. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of excitement for Batman v Superman. There was a lot of excitement for Rogue One. I think one of those movies kind of paid off, literally at the box office. Rogue One coming in.
The rest were just kind of like, oh, there's a second Independence Day movie. Okay.
They were talking. Yeah, I actually saw that in the movie theater.
It was just a movie.
In the theater.
So it was just a very, very bland year for the industry.
Although I think Captain America Civil War came through as far as entertainment-wise. But as far as the real cinema, the movies, the filmmaking, we've got a lot of movies came out that were actually pretty good, like Moonlight, Fences, Manchester by the Sea, La La Land, which I just saw.
Jackie, saw that the other night.
And of course, the Golden Globes were just on recently. I'm sure a lot of people were talking about that. Obviously, Meryl Streep, she made an important statement, I think. And I'm going to focus on the part of the statement where she said that Hollywood is diverse, and we need more diversity in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
And people from all different parts of the world are make up the foundation of entertainment.
You can tell that this year's nominees are clearly a response to the 2 years in a row of Oscars so white trending all over the place.
Right.
Because the last 2 years were pretty pathetic.
As far as recognizing the diversity of talent that we have in Hollywood. I was thinking about how, say, an African American actor is like hot for the moment.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba, exactly. First person who popped in my head. And he's going to be the first African-American guy who pops into anyone's head when they're casting a role for an African-American. And like B.D. Wong has been around forever. He's going to be in the next Jurassic Park movie. He was in the last one.
Yeah, he and John Cho, have kind of become the go-to Asian guys, that don't do martial arts.
Right. And there are how many billions of Asian people in Asia. There are billions of Indian people, yet we only get 1 or 2 Indian actors in movies, and that's I think worth discussing.
Well, if you believe the people that defend the Oscars, actors of color are just phoning it in. Apparently, they're just not doing a very good job out there.
There's so much talent out there that it's not being tapped, I think.
And it also has something to do with the fact that the people that are creating the script, the people that are creating the scripts and directing them have, for the most part, been white dudes.
Right.
So whenever they write the script for what they imagine in their head, a thing I always hear in defense of just
you write what you know.
You write what you know.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, the solution to the problem has been just get more non-white, and female writers and directors, and that's why Marvel and Disney have kind of stepped it up a notch by announcing that Jessica Jones season 2 will be directed entirely by women. They're not gonna. They've realized, okay, if you're gonna make a Black Panther movie, don't get Richard Donner or somebody like that to do it. Very talented guy, but still, not, and they've learned Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel and a lot of the other future projects that have announced have shown that they're getting more diversity behind the camera instead of just in front of it, which is really the most important thing.
It is, and I think it lends voice to different people that aren't being represented in Hollywood. And there's a lot of great stuff from last I checked, the Academy itself is actually 95% European American or white. All of the producers, or the majority of the producers, the majority of the directors are going to be white people, so they're going to write and direct movies that generally have a white cast, which kind of follows reason. So it's good to give certain other groups a voice in Hollywood, because then you're going to actually create a wider palette, a wider selection of what you're seeing out there. And I definitely encourage that for sure. And it's really cool. I didn't know that Jessica Jones season 2 is going to be directed by all female directors, which is there's so many female directors. I work as a photographer on set. I've only worked with a couple of women directors, and it's like 99% male, and those men are generally white. So it's interesting to see things start to actually diversify and change.
Very much so.
I encourage it.
Yeah, and I was saying, like, getting someone like Justin Lin to direct Star Trek Beyond is also a step in the right direction, because just a mainstream action sci-fi movie needn't necessarily be helmed by, Brett Ratner or Bryan Singer or those guys.
Speaking of diversity or different voices in cinema, the movie Moonlight was... I saw it. I found it very compelling. I also jokingly call it Broke Black Mountain because, for obvious reasons. Have you seen that?
No, I got the screener in the mail yesterday, though.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's very compelling. It's a unique story. You don't often see, the sort of this lower socioeconomic urban drug dealing atmosphere where someone has to be closeted, and how they have to deal with that while they're navigating life. And it's really compelling and really, I wouldn't necessarily say heartbreaking, but it's very heartrending, the movie. So I definitely recommend Moonlight. Fences, I guess.
Fences, I saw that one last week, and I was really impressed with the acting. But boy, that movie's long.
Is
At
it?
2 hours and 20 minutes.
Wow.
It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it's based on a stage play.
Yeah.
So it's got that stage play feel where scenes go on for like 20 or 30 minutes in real time, and there's a lot of meandering dialogue that seems kind of slow but is really more about revealing character.
Right.
So if you're... Fences is a great movie if you're a theater goer, because August Wilson literally adapted his own play before his death, and I don't think Denzel Washington changed much from that screenplay. I think he probably left it exactly the way it was, which is why it plays out like a stage play does.
Right. Interestingly,
very long.
Denzel Washington, he's an actor's director, I feel, because I did see the Great Debaters, or the Debaters, and the movie has Forrest Whitaker and Denzel Washington, and the kid in the movie is named Denzel Whitaker.
Wow.
It's as if they had a baby together.
Oh boy, that's a coincidence.
It's pretty funny. Oh. I'm guessing the mom loved Denzel Washington when she named the kid in that.
I guess.
But my one thing going into that movie is I think Denzel Washington as a director is probably so giving to his actors that I'm wondering if he sort of indulges himself a little bit too much in that. From the preview, that's what I get a little bit.
I didn't feel... I think he balanced it out.
Yeah.
To be fair, because I think it's really the real scene stealer for me was Viola Davis. I think so far she's the front runner for Best Actress.
She was in Doubt.
She was she was phenomenal. She's doing great on How to Get Away with Murder.
Yeah.
And I can see that Washington, I think, put more effort into his supporting cast performance than his own. He seems to be... I don't think it's not like he doesn't care about his performance, but he's more of a giving. Yeah, you're right. He is more of a giving actor and a director as well.
The cool thing about Denzel Washington for me is that I could watch him act anything. The guy, like, and I'll probably start crying because he's so powerful when he's on screen. And he had such I even thinking about his scene in Glory is going to make me get choked up, but he was incredible in that. I think he won Best Supporting Actor in that. And then he goes through the entire 90s without winning any Oscars, but putting down some amazing performances, and then wins for Training Day for Best Actor.
Which was kind of a surprise.
Definitely a surprise. I think it was more of a recognition of his body of work, because Leonardo DiCaprio finally won the Oscar last year, because people were like, why hasn't he won yet? He's got such a great body of work, and he won for The Revenant. Great performance. Was it his best? I don't know.
No,
but he did.
It's definitely, you're right, it is a cumulative Oscar.
So it's good to see Leo get his Oscar, because he was going to get it eventually. But that's how I felt the Training Day Oscar was for Denzel Washington. Was like, okay, we got to give him the Oscar already, because he's going to win it someday anyway.
Well, Michael Caine got the same thing for his horrible American accent in the Cider House Rules.
Cider House Rules, right.
Same deal. I think you're right. I think this one, if it does win Best Actor, it will be more for his body of work as a whole. Jackie, yes, I saw that day before yesterday at the SAG screening, and I'm not. I'm going to go on record as saying I'm not the biggest Natalie Portman fan in the world.
I think though she looks the part. She's like a really good fit for the role, appearance-wise.
She is, and they do a great job at making her look like Jackie, and her voice and her accent and her mannerisms are very, very spot on. In fact, she very much embodies the character and does a good job at performing. On the other hand, though, it's very obviously a performance.
Okay.
This is one of those roles like where Daniel Day-Lewis played Lincoln, and he was so spot on and so exact and got everything right. But then you start noticing he doesn't really make a lot of eye contact with the other actors. And he feels very much like he's in his own head. The actor part is a little bit too active, and he's not connecting with other actors as much.
Yeah, I can see that.
I felt like Natalie Portman's Jackie was the same problem. Was her performance was so good, and yet it felt like a performance, which is the one thing that I think might trip her up for the Oscar. But she's already got an Oscar. What does she care?
Right. And that's true. She did Black Swan, I believe.
Yeah. And
Manchester by the Sea. Casey Affleck is in that. Michelle Williams.
I got the screener for that one as well. Casey Affleck also really, really good. He is very much an understated actor. He really subdues everything.
That's cool.
Which it's cool because it's very it makes you kind of work to kind of understand his performance.
Right.
You kind of have to look and try to read between the lines and see what's going on behind his eyes. That's also probably the thing that people who don't like it are probably going to point out, where they're probably going to look at it and go, he's just sitting there, just staring off into space, and it's like, yes, but
yeah, I can see that. I mean, I like Casey Affleck. I think he's come a long way since Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
Since the guy in the backseat of the car saying, "We got snacks now." Yeah, he's come a long way, and I think he does bring a level of down to earth. I think he doesn't let. I guess sort of this actor persona overtake him. He just really just kind of brings like a calm with every performance that he's doing lately, in a realness.
I think that's very much his defining trait as an actor. Is he's just sort of very much understated and not in your face about it. Another great performance was Lucas Hedges, I believe his name is. I don't know where this guy came from. He just sort of popped up out of nowhere, I guess. Wow. He made me forget that I was looking at an actor.
Oh, that's cool.
That makes sense, because I really felt like this kid was actually just like, they literally just got this kid in the movie, and they're like, "Hey, want to be in a movie? Okay." And he comes in, and he just seems so real. It doesn't feel like they cast the guy.
That's cool.
I think that this kid could be a really big hit at the Oscars if he if nobody else steals the spotlight away from him,
Right.
he's going to be going up against like Denzel Washington and guys like that, or Ryan Gosling. So it's going to be hard for him to get noticed. But
Yeah.
he was absolutely the best thing about the movie.
Sometimes I really like when you get an unknown who's never been in a movie before, because they haven't learned to act yet. And that's sometimes a really good thing. 'Cause,
Sometimes they're just a natural.
yeah, and sometimes they're just natural. It's not that they haven't learned to act. It's not that they're a bad actor. It's that they haven't sort of learned the conventions of acting. And there's so many actors sort of...
Right.
And you've got to work on a set. You've got to work with other people. There's certain... a cadence to it.
Yeah.
And so many actors over time, I feel, adopt the I guess the way to act. And sometimes when you get an unknown, they just are real. They're just giving you real emotions.
They go with their gut. They're going with their gut. They're going like, this is how I would react in this situation. I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to be thinking to myself, okay, what would Meisner tell me to do?
Right. Let me do some deep breathing exercises and touch my toes and all that. But but most importantly, let's not forget, Deadpool has a 4-year consideration reel out there,
which I have got to see. I've got to see that one.
I actually saw it. It's kind of dry. He's just sort of listing all of the things about the movie. It's pretty funny. Chances of that movie getting nominated for an Oscar are...
it might get a technical nomination for visual effects or sound editing or something like that.
Definitely, I think.
And if it gets anything other than that, it'll probably be just as a joke. Because sometimes, I don't know, I thought Avatar getting a Best Picture nomination was a joke.
That was pretty silly. And that was when, I think, was that the first year they opened it up to 10 slots?
Yeah, same thing with District 9. I was like, really? Best Picture?
There's
a giant cockroach, huh?
There's a lot of innovative things in that movie, although my girlfriend hates that movie. She just tells me that every time I talk about it. I'm like, but there's this technological feat and all that, and what's that actor's name?
Charlton Copley.
Charlton Copley's in that, and he's always good. That guy is always good. Come on, that guy loses himself into a character.
He does. He really is one of my favorites.
He spends a lot of time changing his look, growing out his hair, shaving his head. I don't know, tattooing his face. The guy does a lot of stuff. He commits.
Yeah, and he's a master at accents, and boy, just coming up with something other than that Johannesburg accent has got to be...
That's got to be tough.
Yeah.
I do hear they had a District 9 sequel in the works that they were going to do. I don't know what they're going to do about that anymore, but I know that the director, Neil Blomkamp, has had a proposal for a new Alien movie, but that's getting pushed way in the back.
That's something I really do want to see. Just ignore Alien 3 and 4.
Yeah, I thought of a way that they could do it where it would still sort of work. So in the beginning of Alien 3, Newt dies, Hicks dies, and Bishop is scrapped. And the only one that survives is Sigourney Weaver. And I thought maybe Alien 3 was just a ruse. Somehow they cloned her, and they put 2 dead bodies, and
that would be an interesting way to retcon the story.
And they just retcon it, and then Wayland Yutani actually hijacks the pod or something, the real pod, and then they wake up and have to get off of the ship or something like that.
And where would the Predators come in? They would have to be there somewhere.
The Predators, and then Boba Fett will come in.
Yeah.
They'll do the whole thing. Hollywood, listen to my story. I'll sell it to you for like, $10 grand. 10 grand. That's 10 big, 10 large. All right? It's up for sale. All right. So there are a lot of great movies that came out. Manchester by the Sea, Fences, Moonlight, 20th Century Woman, La La Land. Great movie. I definitely want to talk to you guys out there about La La Land.
When I get to see it, I think I'm going to see it on Monday.
We'll do a follow-up, and we'll talk about that, because there's a lot of cool things about that movie following such good Hollywood tradition, but also breaking from it. And that's what I like about it. It's also a love letter to L.A., obviously. And it definitely felt like what you do in LA, like going to Griffith Observatory, Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Boulevard.
I can't get enough LA, so.
And my theory on that is that La La Land is a movie about Hollywood, made in Hollywood, and those are all the movies that win Best Picture, and it's a musical.
Yes, it'll be this year's The Artist or whatever.
Yeah, The Artist one. If you kind of go back to Best Pictures, there's a lot of them that were just like sort of these incestuous movies that are just movies in LA about LA, people voting for themselves.
Yeah, we can thank Singing in the Rain for that one.
Yeah, Singing in the Rain. Which I learned was actually the person who made that film or directed it had a bunch of songs that he had written over the course of 10 or 20 years, and they were all disjointed and disconnected, so he hired these writers to put them all together into a somewhat cohesive movie structure, and that was Singin' in the Rain.
It's like Frankenstein.
It is kind of a Frankenstein movie, and that was Debbie Reynolds' first role, and we lost Debbie Reynolds along with Carrie Fisher at the end of 2016, which is tragic, and they both started out 19 in their first movie roles, Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds, and both Hollywood icons from their first role forward.
Yes.
Singin' in the Rain and Star Wars, A New Hope. Such great movies, such great contributors to cinema. They'll definitely be missed. There's very few stalwarts in Hollywood. I feel like people's careers come and go.
Yeah, very much so, especially these days.
The movies I'm looking forward to in 2017, obviously at the top of my list, Star Wars Episode 8.
Yes.
That's my top movie that I'm looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to Alien Covenant.
Definitely a better prequel than Prometheus was, I hope.
I
really hope.
Yeah.
At least we'll get a decent-looking alien this time.
Right, an alien that actually looks like one of the aliens that we are familiar with.
Wonder Woman, looking
forward to that one. And you've got Justice League, you've got Logan coming out.
Kong Skull Island, Pirates of the Caribbean 10.
Spider-Man, though, is probably my second most anticipated entertainment, fun, fluff movie of the year because, you know, I enjoy the action movies with superheroes. That's what I dig. And I know you guys dig it out there too. And but it's always nice to come back to talk about some of the movies that have a little bit more emotional weight, I'd say. Less flashy special effects and more character, more emotion behind them. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the Oscars, who they decide to nominate this year. And I do predict, as we were saying earlier, that it will be somewhat diverse. There are a lot of different types of movies that came out.
Yeah, especially compared to the last 2 years.
Right. So
I can't get off that point.
So, guys, let me know. What do you want to see nominated for an Oscar? Let me know in the comments below. What movie are you looking forward to the most in 2017? I want to know. Let's talk about it. And remember to subscribe to this channel if this is your first time here. Share this video with your friends. Leave a like. Just press that like button. Go ahead and do it. It's super easy and it's fun. It'll make me smile. It was my birthday yesterday, so that'll be a great gift. All right. Well, I'm Aristotle, Full Throttle. Your bro in the know at the fro.
And I'm Bad Panda.
And I'll see you later.